The Twi'Lek Force sensitive Aayla Secura was a Jedi Master in the latter days of the Clone War and a general for the Grand Army of the Republic. Born on the planet of Ryloth, she was brought to the temple by the Jedi Quinlan Vos and began her training as a Jedi Guardian. Becoming a master of Form 4 of lightsaber combat, she participated in notable events in the battles between the Confederacy of Independent systems and the Galactic Republic, such as the first battle on Geonosis. But along with the other Jedi, she failed to notice the darkness on Coruscant in the form of Chancellor Palpatine. The Sith Lord had carefully manipulated the Jedi over many years, first alongside his master Plagueis, then with the help of the fallen Jedi Master Dooku, starting the Clone War. The creation of the clone army by the Sith was not an innocent set of soldiers helping the Republic, rather a piece of the Sith grand plan, as they had installed inhibitor chips into each clone at birth, obeying the commands of the Supreme Chancellor. The Council never found the true reason behind its creation, and they were all betrayed upon Sidious' execution of Order 66. Master Secura had been dispatched to the planet of Felucia as part of the Outer Rim sieges, alongside the 327th Star Corps led by Commander Bly. After meeting with several members of the Jedi Council to discuss Palpatine's potential removal from office, she had been distracted by a Felucian bird and had no time to react to the blaster bolts through her back. Even as she rolled down the hill, the clones continued to fire at her corpse, and her death was felt by the other Jedi across the galaxy. But what if Aayla Secura survived Order 66? Could she affect the rebellion or the Empire? In this episode of What If Order 66, that is going to be answered. As the Jedi Masters stood around the holotable in their hologram forms, they observed as former Jedi Ahsoka Tano walked into a command base on Mandalore with Commander Rex. As Mace Windu denies Ahsoka access to information about their plans for the Chancellor, Master Secura interjects, and this allowed the former Jedi to tell them what Maul had wanted with Anakin, as well as Darth Sidious. Windu is reluctant to believe the Zabrak, as he thinks the Maul is trying to further his own plans, but Yoda thinks that they should at least try to keep Anakin away from the Chancellor. But at that moment, Anakin had been speaking to Palpatine, and it had been just revealed to him that his mentor had been the Sith Lord they'd been looking for. The Jedi Knight is conflicted between his loyalties to the Jedi Order and the offer of the knowledge to save Padme. Returning to the Jedi Temple in a confused state of mind, he tries to look for Master Windu, but due to the delay provided by Master Secura, the Jedi Council members are still in their meeting. Anakin feels the dark side beginning to infect him, and he cannot resist its lure as he returned to Palpatine's office. The Sith Lord welcomed Anakin as his new apprentice, and promised to teach him the knowledge to save Padme after they had dealt with the Jedi. Palpatine proudly executed Order 66 across the galaxy, and dispatched Anakin to purge the temple of its occupants, as the Chancellor entered into the Senate building. Back on Felucia, Master Secura heard the clicks of the blasters around her, as well as through the transmission of the Jedi on the other worlds. Yoda warns them all to escape as quickly as possible, and meet with Senator Organa if they could, and the Twi'Lek entered into the thick and colourful jungle. The clones continued to pursue with relentless effort, and she stumbled into a nearby Felucian village as a pillar of smoke marked its location. The local tribes and bounty hunters have to quickly organise themselves to defend from the stampede heading in their direction, and because of their efforts, Master Secura manages to enter into an abandoned Republic gunship and slip away. The pursuit from the clones still didn't end, and she quickly vanished into hyperspace, then into the airspace of Coruscant to find any other Jedi. All communications at the Jedi Temple had been cut off, and it took a while before she could find Grandmaster Yoda. The elderly Jedi also did not know the fate of those at the temple, only sensing the deaths of those across the other worlds, and they fly with Obi-Wan and Senator Organa back to the footsteps of the Jedi Temple. The Jedi can feel the darkness from their former home, and leapt into action by decapitating any clones standing in their way. Most of the Masters, Knights and Padawans had fallen, but the lightsaber of Master Windu was still moving in a flash, battling Lord Vader. The three Jedi Masters rushed to help the Master of the Order, and even though the new Sith apprentice felt invincible, he knew that he could not defeat four of the most esteemed Jedi duelists, and fled to his ship and then to Mustafar on the orders of Sidious. The Jedi could not remain on the planet, as it was evident that their reign of peacekeepers had been ended. Master Kenobi decides that to give them more hope, they should find Senator Amidala. The panicked and stressed Senator of Naboo is in her apartment as Obi-Wan arrived, and he has to sedate her to stop any kind of pursuit of what was formerly Anakin. The Jedi and Senators take a ship to the Neutral Alderaan, and there Padme gives birth to Luke and Leia, and the rise of the rebellion had begun. The lack of evidence behind the Jedi's assassination attempt on Palpatine had given the rebellion an initial popularity boost, but they still operated in the shadows. Nowhere had this been more apparent than on Alderaan, as Luke and Leia had been raised in total secrecy in the confines of the palace. Leia had not expressed the same initial desire as Luke to be trained in the Force, frequently following Bail Organa during his political duties, and watched Padme operating from undercover. This allowed the surviving Jedi Masters of Order 66 to focus solely on the training of Luke, and the initial traits of his impatient father had been driven out. The Jedi had been limited in the missions that they could do for the rebellion, but that would soon change upon a mission to Master Secura's old home planet of Ryloth. Cham Syndulla could not carry out his guerrilla strikes, alongside his free Ryloth movement, as the Empire had begun to close in. Together with Obi-Wan, the Twi'Lek Master had entered into the dust-covered planet and found the movement in an underground lair. Eager to free the imprisoned natives, the Jedi attempt to trap the Empire using a group of Ultra droids that Syndulla had kept in reserve. The plan is initially a success, as the surprise attack forces the Empire to retreat back off of the planet. But as they are about to leave, the Jedi sense a disturbance in the Force and look overhead as a Star Destroyer covers the planet. The organised movement enter into the dense jungle, using the knowledge of the terrain to their advantage, and any Imperials have been trapped or killed by the Jedi. But the Imperial troopers have been relentless, and matters have been made worse by the entrance of Darth Vader. The towering machine stomped across the dust, pulling down the trees that had covered the opposition, and the Jedi decided to step out. Vader had not been surprised to see them both, and taunted them for their failure to not see through Palpatine's plan. Obi-Wan calmly circled his old apprentice, remarking that he was still a slave, and Vader lashed out at the Jedi. Obi-Wan's formidable defences were still at their best, from frequent training with the other masters, and the Sith apprentice struggled to make an impact on his old master, even if Master Secura could not damage his own defences. As they appeared to be in a standoff, Syndulla's resistance arrived and provided cover fire for the Jedi, and they used their combined might to push Vader into a dust bowl, then left the planet. The Jedi reconvene on Alderaan and realise the inhabitants were no longer safe, so evacuate to Bail Organa's ship as Padme and Leia organise the escape. The Jedi decide to move to the planet of Dagobah, as it had been a location Yoda knew would help to shield their presence in the Force, and they continued with Luke's training. After his training had finished, the Jedi all head back to Ryloth, as Vader had only been recently rescued by the Imperial forces, surviving on only the pain of his defeat. As the rebels arrive in their array of starfighters, the Jedi jump onto the ground. Master Secura tries to carve through the Imperial forces, but Vader manages to fly out. The rebels pursue the Emperor's enforcer, not knowing that they'd been trapped by the Death Star, and the fleet defending its perimeter, and those that weren't shot down had been drawn in by the tractor beam. Before they docked, the stormtroopers fired at all of the ships, sending them bursting into flames, and only the agile Jedi can leap out. But as they hit the cold floor, they are all engulfed by Palpatine's lightning attack, and the Emperor's cold laughter echoed against the walls of the hangar. Vader folded his arms and merely looked on, as a medical droid attended to his wounds, until he felt something strange in the Force. An invisible ship had managed to breach the defences of the Imperial fleet, and safely docked in the carnage, and out of it walked Padme, Leia and Master Secura. Palpatine looked incensed that he had been interrupted, and asked Vader to eliminate the distraction, but as he looked at Padme and Leia, he froze. Palpatine ordered Vader to attack them again, and Vader reluctantly ignited his blade, as the Jedi could sense conflict through their pain. Master Secura did not hesitate in lunging at the former Jedi, and she promptly disarmed him, then sent him into a station TIE defender. Vader wheezed in pain, but staggered to his feet and looked as Luke continued to be under the torture of Palpatine with Obi-Wan. Palpatine stopped his attack, feeling the conflict from Vader, and turned to redirect the attack at his delicate suit, but all of the Jedi leapt to the roof of the hangar, then simultaneously slammed onto the floor, shaking the ground and sending the Sith off of their feet. Vader and Palpatine had not survived the mighty blast, and carrying the body of Vader back to their ship, they destroyed the Death Star from the inside, then returned to Ryloth. With the help of all of the Jedi, the Twi'leks had been freed from the torture and enslavement of the Empire, and the planet was one of many to be free again. That is it for What If Aayla Secura survived. If you enjoyed this What If, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.